Good day to you, and I hope your observance of Lent has been a time for refreshing, for challenge, for paying attention to the world around you, for looking for clues for God's design for our church and for our lives. We continue our journey with some thoughts for the day from the Moravian tradition, from the scriptures and song, and we're going to be thinking about the idea of stumbling, what it's like to stumble. We've just made it through most of the season of winter, and one of the more terrifying things is when friends or even ourselves, when we take a little tumble that can really set us back for a long time. It can happen in just a second or two, but the ramifications can last for months, to stumble and fall and hopefully not break something there along the way. We sometimes see little children taking the hand of an adult and how steadying that can be. And the scriptures for today talk about taking steps and relying on the presence of Jesus. And we'll also see that theme in our song for today. So let's begin with the Old Testament. Psalm 37, these verses tell us a person's steps are made secure by the Lord when they delight in his way. Though they trip up, they won't be thrown down because the Lord holds their hand. Just visualize that for a minute. You're walking along the way, down a path perhaps, and you have the Lord's hand, and then maybe you trip on a root of a tree or something like that, or a stone you did not see, but you don't tumble to the ground because someone has your hand. To put your hand in the hand of the Lord, there was an old song about that at one time, wasn't there? What a great assurance to know, because we're really not talking about hiking here. We're talking about life and the things that can sometimes trip us up. I do notice that it does not say that if you hold God's hand, you'll never trip. What it does say is, though we trip up, we won't be thrown down. We'll be able to continue our journey, in other words. Well, here's a little verse from the New Testament that talks about a time of a different type of stumbling when Jesus and his followers were out at sea, and the Lord bids Peter to come and walk on the water. And we see what came out of that in Matthew 14. When Peter saw the strong wind, he became frightened. As he began to sink, he shouted, "Lord, rescue me." Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him, saying, "You man of weak faith, why did you begin to have doubts?" This can be a curious passage there because we wonder, why didn't Peter just stay in the boat, or what was it that made him start to take that journey? And to be honest, we have to make our own connections. How does this apply to me in my relationship with God? The places where I'm afraid to get out of the boat, the places where I've begun something, but then my fears get the best of me, where I pay too much attention to the winds and not enough to the presence of Jesus. I remember a book that once had the title, "If you want to walk on water, you've got to get out of the boat." And Peter did get out of the boat, but then he had to rely upon Jesus to take his hand. But for goodness sake, we certainly shouldn't blame him. He is the one who did get out of the boat. I pray that our church family can have that kind of vision to be able to step out of the expected and to step beyond and to know that Jesus is there to take our hand. Well, our song for today talks about that journey of faith and what that is like, and uses the reference from the Psalms that talk about lifting our eyes to the hills. These are Charles Wesley words for us, so I think you'll appreciate that. So follow the words and sing along if you wish. To the hills I lift my eyes. To the hills I lift my eyes, the everlasting hills. Forth in fresh supplies my soul the Spirit feels. Will he not his help afford? Help while yet I ask is given. God comes down, the God and Lord who made both earth and heaven. Faithful soul, pray, always pray, and still in God confide. He your stumbling steps shall stay, foes, free from sin and Satan's hold. When the flesh, earth, hell oppose, he'll keep you in his fold. See the Lord your keeper stand omnipotently near. Now he holds you by the hand and banishes your fear. Shadows with his wings your head, guards from all impending harms. Round you and beneath are spread everlasting arms. Christ shall bless your going out, shall bless your coming in, kindly compass you about till you are saved from sin. Like your spotless Master, you filled with wisdom, love, and power, holy, pure, and perfect now, both now and evermore. Isn't that wonderful to know that he holds us by the hand, helps banish fear, watches our coming in, watches our going out, blessing us at every step along the way. Here's our closing prayer for today. Ever hope-giving God, we lay down our stress, fear, and anxiety to live in the promise that you restore. As you gave new life to others, we ask for the same blessing for ourselves. Restore us, mind, body, and spirit, Lord. Amen.